wote ye ne ewa afidie so na ye dadwoada na se wukuada bani ni shujumade ene ye de ebraunti na so ye se adwa bieu ene so asem da pono so ye free sabi kopim se nondu bebo no ye ne wo betena se a na ye ensemu a ema ye take good decisions ensemu a ema se wo tu anamon na se wo dwen wo man ne ho se die na sese me ye me manti na nya minti a me manti ti o wo manti na nya wo nkoa wo ye funti wo manti na nya wo nkoa na wo beka se me die sa nya yi a me die me wo problem a eno ho ne ye si gina ye wo ha eti na nwumre ya busua ya ba no ye si adwa ye manti enye ye nti ene ye wo ha ne di kan no anwumre sa wate a won se etiwa east abaka chepani wi owo no mu DC etiefu edi bani ni issues achibe kai a medi opani na ba fie hada fasa galamse kwanye be fa so ne yetu ase mu ewo mayi mu medi ne betena ha se na semu anu wo ka nyina ne se yemfa tumi no ma bankra chempanimfo a wonum wo mansi ahodo onum ne wonum ne betumi aye adwuma no meni papa etwen ho a ka se da bi o se yedi tumi ne hye adwumakuo kasiensa no munu firi honom a musumu betumi ateta source mo se water gas o se gas bebrebe a mode aba no mu betumi ahwa prapra cho se da bi ya na tumi ni kita ye be hu adwuma no so ene wate ni efiri court aba se this ne ya bone kase contempt efa galamse ho contempt wo tua 12,000 cedis anaso okodam ena nwotwe na de ne baaye se ye beka se abakra chepani na wote so woni obi twa asase ho mining ye bio ye wutie report no a ye se galamse nsase mu sade atuo ne na mra kwa so ya che se adwuma woni ni nuanum bi ye dada eti hu manso no a court de o chato so se asase wei ni odi asemba court wo a ye de wa ba court wo mu obi a nkwa asase ne so ene o mabu mra ne so koto mantie wo hokoche wo mu a this is ye men eya wo men ye de o chato so se ye men na wei kanya samu a me ye fa me ho e wo sa me ka bi so ye garam se die fa me ho kire se mampani no ti so yi se tiefo be kaye a campaign no ye efa galamse tuo hu no mampani ka kire ye se ye won innocent people bi a yachi wongu neduafie ye woni pa bi wo hono mo a wo mu hu so ani yachi bodi wogu neduafie die nti ne yachi wogu mu a wo mo de obi ni owo sika ni owo tumi ene wo hyekire ene wo ba mo pa sa mo nkoye adwuma ene yachi omo eti dia innocent eti ono wo ba eye wo mu hyekire no obehwehwe wo mampani se wo mu hyekire na wo hwehwe bo se ne wo kan yese tumi wo mu a tumi ekita bon wo mu asika bo mo nsemu a mejidi se wudi si ye wo so hwehwe ne mu ye mejidi se DC wo so se nunu mu bieu mejidi se DC wo so obi sa na kira sam kakra won se yes si ye di si yo be ye dwuma yes ya sam e ka ye bedi so a mejidi se ye ma appointment no ne yes ye hwehwe ni pakro ne background a niema se nyina wo se kom eti mampani wo bo hye na wo hye ye no da bi ya ye be ka wo bi ba ko nie se wo ba wo mo ye innocent ya chi wagum na duafie se na galamse no be gya won no mo anka se hye kire no wa hwehwe won etu DC no udisi no ana ya fine ne 12,000 no went you okoda me days no sa kwa wi mu sa kwa wi na chi sa kwa tie because as report e wa bonten no se ye nokure se ya chi nipa bi se mamu nkwasa ase ne so court na di ruling about mo bi ankwasa ase ne so ko se be ka asem na wie na mmabunu ni bi afa kire akwasa ase ne so na yesi ne wo tuo so no enye legal mining illegal mining na ya chi won na the DC is bold enough to say eye me mena mampani wo adwuma ye because any enka ne won ko bra wuo no so mpafe nam wono na wasoma no won kotu ade na ase no ho ball anyine so no eti mampani ye twen wo ne be free saa DC we yasemu aba no ye te wodi ye twen wo we mu na manan mosofo adwuma ne task force bebrebe a ye tie wo mayi anya adwuma no aban bia beba beti task force operation kere operation shoot operation dien ebeba ne ye wo saa nipa wo enum bi no mu kitatwumi a do you think say the operations o mo koye ne be yie anya yie because nipa nensa ho afotwon ene ye di tumi na hye nensa eti adwuma no a wo ye no wono obema akwakora mo aba no ho wo ba no wono mo a onu benya information nti on na ebema tip ama omu e wo sa mo chi omo no madwane eti se nyame ye wadom na hu bibi se ya hwehwem na ne ebesi ye ntumi hu abusua ene yasem we de ba pa no so ate ne amabobo amu atie na da bia me asem we to da me kan se communication wo hu communication ma bo ni mienu amu atie Mustafa Agbande de ba ko adwasafo de mienu tie Mustafa Agbande se MPP fo asoa enwowa o ma soa nwowa ohun ni chese eto da asem no timi hye wo so a wo hu se ne osinyi anonfa MPP fo asoa nwowa eno omo eno na omo de ye campaign e wo pandai Mustafa Agbande MPP fo de nwowa na ye campaign e wo pandai wohu ensem ni bi wo ho no mo a se mo betie sifom no ma ye campaign MPP fo de say yo mo nam ho de ye beko na ye nko ene ye kokoto saa Ablekumanov saa na omo ye omo ene ye beko ene ye nko na nipa no so candidate ne so na mo ase se meko maboka ntie wo se meko ene omo ye saa fe last minute ene ye kosi ba mo wo ho no mo a wo mo organizer ni ebi mbetogu so kire ye wohu sesei ene ye kokoto ase ye beko ase ye nko eti ka DC fo kra de mu de ma state no emphatically say ye ko eti mu wo grounds wo nyina no amonamuo no MPP fo amfa o manim a mo de nwowa na abra Mustafa Agbande se mu area ho de mu de nwowa ne kokon da be na Ghana ha ye bete se obi kokon wo de emphatite no kra na ye kokon no wo kokon na nwowa di wanim hwe na nwowa na de wo ko eniema ni bi o hono mo a me say media na ye frɛ wo anya ba force se kasa wo ye frɛ wo a enya compose se kasa wo na microphone na etina ni mu say microphone we etimi yetuo etimi ma peace ebetumi ama wo microphone na esi yani mu no eti etoda wuni pakro wotimi tina so be kasam no awie wawe ya be nu hwanu ene social media ne recordings ada romanti wo etofem a wo fa enye yie etofem na wo fa enye yie ode ene because of nipa me de o ma ba fie nti adwasafo de ene me de be konkon ho na emu mabone na mo wate adwasafo de no say wati ono so ne de you de namu eti MPP fo de enru January bosome ne de toso aduasa afie besimu no ensam de ebeti bi papa ensam de buronya wo ma ye ni yebedi a ye enmo hye wanum na wo tensem atele so wo wasun efi say campaign no mo ye no omu wi omu abehoro omu ho asade omu ho aba mu wi anom omakodwire omu ho no masa beto ama Ghana fo ne ewu mu no eti abusua enanwumre yi camp ye kono mako when say Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia camp yakoho ene ye ko Canada Japan camp ye ne kasamafo ye okasa edema onimunyamfo Canada kompreko Japan ene ebetwetwe enkomo anwumre former PRO sabre ne ye kan PRO wo hu kasamafo Ministry of Education enei lawyer Kwesi Kwatin wono ani nipa opposition na ye spokesperson na say aid na say de he eja Kwesi chiremuna post ne de
ebi wa me wajo
boko
me nka se post me ka se me role me role ye campaign spokesperson when I cast my campaign
ni na
okay could na ye lawyer could na ye 8 to honorable ken so on the way the war for but me there campaign ho nsem bia there me na meka ho asem
I see ni opose no so
me role no adwuma no so
ere ni nim ye post o kan ro aberwa bi ante
Ghana ha post no nipa no bi di eye normal o ti ya na no ye ko campaign na papa bi amemo didi na wonam ho na we ti wodan ho se no akwaba ese post mi busa am so wona ye ho ni coordinator am say say nti ho na metumi ho say ye if you know go in people to be
into any rule
because the rule reminds you of a bigger assignment
asudie da
also so ye but post no here na a routim so na ma utima ye de se o jamre oso so na wonru ho so ntimi de me fa ne say asudie kese se bi oso ko no mate se me santia jimni this year atam asudie kese se amame se ewura ken campaign kakraka nyina what the president abebo Ghana mai eho de wubo eho kasa bibia fa campaign ho de woni nipa ya yi se obeka ho asem nti asudie kese zero campaign ewura kanye is obe kasa mafu
wa unim
enye easy
wa unim say
yes
dey na man here dey
say Ken sebio meka say enim Ken no ye obi a efa ne say Ken de connected to fitisama yenyinya Ken o kana adwen so wana wo hwe sebio yeso e mai mo ete ha de bia meka say kura dwato ahene wo mu de ye nti ase wo no ma bi ho no e wachi se meti ha bi wai bia na maye wade ya ntene se ubeti ma hwe mani ma kana kura hye me no uzi afa obi na ohene de animu na oba pantu snap no tuntuma bo mu ade wa beka na asem nya ye ne basa mi wa zo bi kura ka wo se kyereka de wo mu kyerɛ mia ke bia de papa be de e betu ba bia da and you be you always defy the walls in such a cultural background abribia no nipa na nte wase so sana Ken no abraba koye dia bia ebi wa wo beka na differently no Ken hu ne se ne o se ye de ye ka no na Ghana ha nipa hempo na sebio wono mo atimi sorry say wo mo party bibi nya kro mo timi de eka not even close president impo not even close say you even get the president of the land so no ankasa sebia bru ni party bibi chia no atimi ka but Ken doesn't mind obetra TV so aka just said no this was wrong as he anya ni say na ye nuru ho so ye hu ni say sa abrabo no ye meka se sebia kwasi bro ni abrabo wono mo na bibia otimi ehwe wanim ka de eso ka kire wo hwe na no mia mo fa attach asem ko kai ozu Ken de I mean the context was about Ken's frankness and honesty in addressing issues. But, yes. But okase no. So no be o no gina afa okwa no say so offense say what nipa on po asem de o sua wasa no ye de no obu nipa. So asa na efe said ya we de o say nyefe. So nti only baby o gina no say who can say o ya kokodro for o kana kra otimi kana adwen ade enye very disciplinarian no. Omu ehun ne sa one more beka so bia so nsem bo ha me ntimi repeat say you attach ade and when you are working for such a person especially surrounding a moment like this how they ebezo de boa Ghana man say wo pay so pay to franka no sama nyosem de I mean why adwuma ya che the game of politics no and they bia nipa hwehwe ade a sebio one mo so say betima ma campaign de abafo and you will have to explain the context of A, B, C, D. So the can say that also. A church or man for saying any panel tear, saying a tear, saying a auntie say any panel visual pa for fufu chair or bakacho say tuntum. Would the tuntum chair or bakacho say fufu. Into a bigger responsibility. Not on the context if you are candidate in any, but is within the context of where we find ourselves and of course the issues surrounding the whole contest. So and then adwuma no beka se ya so die kese and I said you would they buy within the political sphere so na the political space say presidential election is not a small election obi o be too franka so a flag bearer e de babidi o mining na nya de ketwa na assembly man de kra efo and we start January minimum yakumai ye na wo sori kobade aboanze oni yere tiene any okwa pressure bia
lawyer no enya ni
any pressure bia na no so nti ye fa na esen ha ye fa largely is like you don't have a life until say baby ade no so we no na me free western buy me ba no no so won kran o so ne wona bo ken so na mu ha and na bedru da ya kakra na nwumre sai sa akokam ho ochira homache e bedru ne sa voter eso ye ho nti you literally don't have a life.
Yeah, bepa how mo dividing mumu any campaigner more you know, but ne management more candidate no ne management send you can say enough from me cry dynamic as with your position no ekita no etio with the wenya but ne wo ka no ye hu say change aba e wo mo candidate no mu send ye osikasa wa ka say onu hu asem o ka ne pempempen send ye tie but e free mre kakra ni sa pempempen no asa kofem ase say bibi ni a obi tu bi manane kora no wayi nani ase mi hu ye before enu besi say no minimu nipa bi a na omo ka ne campaign wa fe mi hu ye ebi mini omo ye we mbisa wa twon ho se o ma twon ho ne management ede but me hu se change aba so sa sani ese say ye hu no ya ade a ebi a ye de na fantitie bi mu sei na o beye anasa ye de propose ye nya wi a obesensi ndadam senete.
Is it really a case about the management? Me Susa. So me Susa say who come from the place I can management there. Who say you were a standard how I per se ye normal. I were my moha and assetana and ya team. Ken penesa. So o de bia me de we example. Say o maya sebio o share bibiti say traffic light. All you need to break traffic laws and traffic rules and regulations so better language are black na what na matenti now de a year anymore but a year but wow alarm yi na de be anymore nobody will stop you udru police for kra no mujina traffic light na no twem kwa hwe sabetia. So I'm just exposing the systemic rot within your system ya ye woman na ye maimo baby to say sanitation laws say how many times it is so they hear chrome. Nti we have a society the society na nkasa no is anchored on normal bibria enye nentene work institutions work systems almost everything doesn't work. So that is what we are used to sani enim so normal say obi be school na 10 years onya adwuma ogana ha emfonso bi ani ho so normal so de wasembe ko police station na obi ani akire obefre fire service na yema say no yema emu ha very normal obibewu through the negligence of health personnel na phobia. That is what we are used to. That is what Ken also stands against. And striking the balance or no against a certain rot in a certain system I have built there over the years. It's almost become cultural. And I also ejina baby fako. And the one meeting halfway antenna say abribia or no so nti baby a wujina na yede ase. And you honorable ekrum ha de obi kasem na enya yenka na obedwamu ntia no so no ono ntia sesa ye mamu han. We also need to set a new paradigm. I will be kasem na enya was yeti mhwe na me de ekachen honorable okọ hospital na best ni ho a ye mamu ha ye metra TV so nka sa obi a politician be wefu. Ken doesn't agree with that. Honorable your party for asem de yenka na bedwamu. Ken doesn't believe in that. And somebody ought to take responsibility.
Internet say on sesanye send your man forecast say what Tony dance say they were heading or the propose onya no asensin that them on sesanye
so when somebody says in management me we see so when somebody says in management here it's just the person no are failing to understand the personality and the candidates of Ken. But on the issue say Ken about form why you say I think say sebi so ye nipa. And also some point you umidi sebi me fan sebi tafrache be mwaso nipa na obede obedi omozo. So there also have to be a balance. What I say with the Ken the history in the records me na Ken akuko draw and then near dia wo chire nyina in 99% of the situations no in the protection of the MPP. Remember one scenario say Ken akodidi obia or kodidi MPP for time MPP for yankwase afo opani Gabi Bedia to President Akufo-Addo Mosafma for Nimpenifo bi Omahia Gabi Fio Eastern Region. Very high profile meeting. Na party na record meeting. No dia koma Accra FM a pro NDC station na wabo. I mean obi odin sika a sponsor party na some elections so team donate be 245 pickups no bottom zika no amawe ebe na ya ote no so nipa oyesa no nkwasasam no wadi no nti this was about 8 minutes tape near any trap just 1 minute SMPP for nkwasafo so ukoye say no enne ope president ye use no against you second and all your party for them nti drew maybe a oye nipa betu ho for sometimes in your own closest because na nyankofo am kodi o machi defend o na de o mayi mame nti sometimes it's not about say wasesa but oye nipa there are times that reality also done on you now betu ho for and again the balancing act and also ka ho nipa obedu omoso no you also have to meet them halfway. Ghanaians are generally modest. Ghanaians are generally calm. Ghanaians, you pay normal in a very conservative way. Boko. Irrespective of, the canker I spoke about, say we have a systemic errors and wrongs in pertaining within it's almost become culture. But there are also good sides of Ghanaians. Nipebia or shortcomings or strength. The strength and also Ghana for so one person leader appear in a certain way, one person leader cast in a certain way. No, what collection first on all loose. Mewa. Second time, but you also have to meet the people halfway because Nipa no will be do almost no. If they are determined to move in a certain direction, now so also Hana Abefa, you may not get it even in the first place. So it's a balancing act that Ken is doing. It does not say the principles are all one. Say you know, everyone say. Phone we na can price or catch us phone we tuna and can never say massa e be at for to phone no tuna dia we yenye this time he may say some massa for phone no to what I say
to what Ghana for say
no is a balancing act the say be Ghana for expect say oh openi obia say if people see you say oh you are too passionate about it and how you address it if they misconstrue that to be say we are temperamental you have to also live a certain life to also meet them halfway. Say no, it is not about being temperamental, but it is also about being passionate about ABC. Every word not I was like, but just want make and hey, what take Ghana for us within the context of meeting them halfway. Say nipa adiana. No nipa will say be what you are. Obi akasema odi onfa. Let us say you can be a good leader. And Ghana for also I dey atake na dey ase.
You medase.
Abusiani
a wati yene penina wo hwe nkitaudie so ye beka se ebe nkitaudie ewo Honorable Kennedy Akompreko e Japan ne campaign team no a ono ene woda no ne din e de lawyer Kwasi Kwaten ene ye ne no esi adwane e obey na se ne lawyer utu anu atiem so edi na chi dendenden penimfo mienu utu anu atiem so ne de ono wa mute ti yene lawyer Kwasi Kwaten na twetwe nkomo abusua so oba Facebook ayedam live ene YouTube nyina wadwenche obetumi edibi ato Facebook no oba Adom 106.3 FM a o like no wa share na de wadwenche ato YouTube so subscribe ene adwenche bia wo de beto no ye bekenkan ede amao ye de asedama Electroland wadaroma ene Christmas wo se wo chaade eti wo niema a wo ton no kwa ya tete so TV ye fridge ye dan ni nyina washing machine ebo no aba fam ya wo boa ene wo abeko bia utimi se promotion na wo ye no enye na adade we oka no wa ye no kama ena December yi aye wo mo so no the African festival ebeba so ye ka the African festival na 2 days 28 and 29 December ena yede ehhehye so the African festival ye bekoso Accra International Conference Center Adom tofo a eba de bebre Rocky Dawuni ejinemu osibisa band ejinemu Besa Simons ejinemu ene Amanziba Nat Brew oti Amanziba nka how many years ni ojinemu den Christmas etu ticket no dial star 447# 1092# obo ya na se ugina mu den niema ekoye ede amount na abusua ma yenko yanim medical de ato anim se ye ne lawyer na esi adwafe lawyer yenhye yenko motwetwe na se 16 regions dodo san no matumi akọ
16 regions emu in terms of the candidate himself which is Ira Kennedy Japan there wako and Neka 115, which is Greater Accra. They are 115. But Oshe, where we just say Central Region. And why? I mean, sometimes, you know, with Accra to it. No, I said there be any time, no. ono on mobenya enkita especially the regions na bemben wo no sometimes we say regions ni bi ko hia na bemben ya greater so obekwa Ashanti so kakra and out of the 16 so far make ohwe say ya yekono so tietie other candidates baby almost here and so no nko ani candidate what my year 15 as at now na ho den was ropa and we wono Iraken so free ha maame ya friend no Irene Nato she honorable maame no so bonne ho modern papa odi in Kenya is from kwaba team nim also I some number of regions also hopefully the plan is also be a nationwide tour now no say nene koya Ashanti also we greater why central now no wakoye western north no ya me no kasa me kasa no an ye ba ya no so ye koye western na me kasa ochena say ye voter aye woti no aka ho enti bronya adaje ni po so ye nam saa kopem say na me be ye Adom na yetima to aba na wi uyi no so ko afiri ha say Iraken yere maame Christiana Japan maame no so na me so bono ho modern sa e kasa bokko kama no no de ohia manko a wose oye bibi e friend no boa wo se minim ebu a ye de try kura se minim so mo tena ho pa no boa no ye wa kura se no se eduru wa fo so a wa fo eya efu a ne akodo bia memu anum nai ne akodo de eduru ha na so abedo ye de ayede ama nti e chesa eduru so a bia e be pam to da kura bia wo kodua bu abode beba ba ko fo ntimi ntwa ne nyina ya kogum ne aye nti wono mo kɔ apam bia omo kushia mo ne omo san apam e de krata nyina atoso aye no so e friend no boa a wono so ne omo ye uwie so a ye wa MPs ahodo bibra ya che omo across the country a wono mo so nam forma omo so usia enu letter area by letter area constituencies by constituencies
MPs no mu obi MPC almost or munyina declared the ama Dr. Muhammad Bawumia nti sane e wo kan say mo MPs way
ebi wa banchenya ija na be kire
mo MPs do say
mama nka some ncho MPs no mfen free say Ira Dr. Bawumia say na no on ne kwa kansi maybe almost start say no almost 67 be declare no okay and e di ho achi ya but say evidence on provided there ne nipa be 22 or so na won mo
omunyina ntimi ama but omo kan say 67
me ba sa be din ama me ba na no won sa ye redeclaration obi mo declare mo say redeclaration to confirm mo stance and then also by 63 uti 63 no so nipa no mo ko gina ho a omo ye no mo 21 o de o ye journalist and am say woni mpanifo din komo pa unim de omo wo sa 21 no kra ko gina ho no so na emunum ye nkrofo a wo magye permission say ombezo mo ye de
ene so mayi mama Judas mo nkrofo timi ko she Dr. Muhammad Bawumia chi
adwuma na ye no ye to da open information what you say e we kra na nya asem esem be kan radios na de me pese me che ne say uyi even the said 63 na kwa 63 nipa 22 or so ne be gina ho but I'm telling you say out of that 20 uyi nunu kra free ma wonu mo no mu gina ho no ye omu ben sia wo football if be both teams to score one mo ni meet ye nkita ho e bi kwa sponsor elections no one mo asa akogina ha na amanyosem no ye de nipa na eyo ana ye nse nipa so empinya kwara enti wo ye no matchro di na mo de aba fine we wish them the best amanyose ye friend political astroturfing obrofum astroturfing ne che say wa ade eni ho na opese wo create impression bi say ye ewo and you can understand them adu ye sha say mekai na no so say Ewura President Akufo-Addo no gina Dr. Bawumia chi den the last election and nei won say sa ahoden na no didi na chi no em say watwe ne kakra eni ho opania Dr. Brian Champon papa ni mudu pa mo fa no watchna so be fi ho
mampani dada
the make Brian kra
there be first one na kan say mampani dada
yes President Akufo-Addo
na de na che say watwe no
nti se wo he bia mo na mo ni mo nche be
say wadi ni mampani awi otin ba bi dwena no
say fe bi o say last time I no support Dr. Bawumia so be ehu
oh then oh yeah
ABY we say nipa we are very rational people etimi dwen ohunyankopa ama ye say nyansa ne nimde no etimi connect ABC etimi hu say utiwe ndi aye say me o ka bibi kire me ansa na hu say Ewura otiwe waware we show ka wakra metime What I say, just sometimes by conduct and by science be a waiting be a nipa na hwe.
Enti dear science na hwe ya sa abru hu se mampani that time.
See, we call something objective realities. Any reasonable Ghanaian knows that last election, President Akufo-Addo supported Dr. Bawumia. And as at now, no, if you take any reasonable men on the street, if you sample 100 of them, I can tell you, say 99 of them will tell you, say, Papa no, atwen ho. I mean, some say, atwen, say, Papa no, nipa na yejuma. What I say? And it's all share nipa no. Say, amanyo say na you so. And you say, Obia, say me ni kobi nam hoi. Baby, we me jan say me didi man ni bidia. E ho no no so. Likely so bad day. Of course, there are exceptions. But wo share na bia nipa be edua ono ene me nam yejuma. Na afi wo chena obia afa ha. Na bia me ma tweme ho a. Ye gro na yedi no. Chances are that about 70% chances and they say ono na wa show mo so mo nyade omunkwa. I'm not saying say President Akufo-Addo I should be so ojina ha no ejina, but I can tell you who is not supporting. We need Dr. Bawumia. But me through na mensa more for kwa woni skewura. Say kutu say ba.
Why?
Say kutu wonte. So one day we this kind of election. Wonte o mo che music mo che ya unse we kwa mouth transport. And for one day say kutu say ba me offer a Dr. Brian Champon. One also say send na last election or Dr. Bawumia ho. O say papa no one also nse mood tina ho de ne wo ho. Maame a ye kana asemi. Honorable Renato si. No see Dr. Bawumia. Me and Papa Dr. I said it. So no so Dr. Bawumia. Me boa. Engineer kwa Japan no nye ni ho. And the one mu nyina twa mo ho emu fa kese na fa form kra say they don't believe in his vision or more contestant. Tina ho odin so atwan. Me chere wa de kunti a one mu ye so much interested in. Say anytime they have to create a certain perception and image say one mu e won nkofo bebre no. Me na me ka chere. I'm not so much interested in the figures on the MPs, but the MPs no almost one in Nisa, the best they can do no be 1/3 of the numbers that they are claiming. But anyone a massem, one maybe a massem one say, or share your constitution, the sovereignty no form of no. Oh, there are over 212,000 polling station executives. A one I want any year day, agena. A ho and a can strength. And this all nipa 63 when ya let's even assume without even admitting say they have even all the 86 or 87 na ya wanna quantify 276 because in the whole so know how who win there if the logic is that
yeah no po mo wa da force kan ho enne se mo baby mama so na on so di bi atumu yi so on so ta na chi dende do oba mo wa wayera
you can understand them. Let me tell you something. 31st January is going to be a contest between the polling station executives or more yaudi sempeni for your munya kwenya didi abaimo or man show and sempeni for your more try also to protect their legacies. One more dear nakapa so mo he one more didi peche amen emuye. How then do you convince any across on ho and the one no mobedi? I mean, after 16 years of Dr. Bawumia being in the affairs of administration, it's very rational. So one more moon sound but I'm telling you, say 31st is going to be that very faithful verdict. The biggest pool ever. 31st, ebisho no 31st. Indeed, obisho jinaha. I am telling you, say me, MPC one more so mujinaha. Yane more than half the committees every day. You know on the planning every day. And I told I want to meet permission. Could be also cry sebi nyado. Ebu enyomuni. So but the a normal question where the party stands, it has nothing to do with where the MP stands or which MP stands. That is not the focus. The focus is about party for who dear normal dream say party in here. The paper normal dream say party in here. See, when him say 2028 about one. So here Ghana bako say ma. Ebu wa ode wa follow from 92 ABC and ne party be about onyakwanya say any 8 years. What the FM free Rollins 2000. Friends in 92 to 2000 and 8 years NDC 2001 so basically 2001 9 years nyako for 8 years and friends say set for 2001 to 2008 and 2009 so basically 2016 Mels Mahama almost 8 years and 2017 to 2024 Yakufo almost 8 years and would be about nyakwanya 8 years Ushe by the year 2028 ebedo na 8 years and also for NDC or current government here this week. Say a kind of crack ho pa as MPP near didn't crack ho. per the history there no it is ohwa anka ne papa mu pa de ken say danya dey in real so of course the context is within the history but idea I advantage in say Mahama wontimi nkobio the disadvantage is also that we Mahama also wontimi nkobio and nipa wode no bia so no also have a chance of going 8 years in the 2028 kwa bia we have to break it near timi edge even though NDC for 4 years no no kwa
and you think say candidates no aspirants you omuti no momo candidate no ne betumi a break his record no say President Mahama nkobi omumpo near the different candidate ba ye nim candidate awoba ba any candidate momo candidate betumi eni na gina
aminche wade ade anya wodi ano so sa wo kwagye akamfo ne twi fo mpanifo kaka se bisa eso wo koro nipa ne ka wa ye dey afa na beti nipa numa e konyina no ye ka so obi koro obi ka afa beti a ka wa bie ni ho atima ko nipa beti wo peti ese wontimi fo enwo fo beti na de panifo kaka sa na che ne se eso wo kwakire memasem wo de ne den ene ehunuhuna ene memasem na ye de wo kwakire and the candidates are contesting na nipa num nyina wonom ka de hia busua no but none of them and there was akoko no beti match memasem wo de mamema just example in the past 4 years in 2020 so kaya there was a contest between President Akufo-Addo and President Mahama. Electoral Commission had given us 72 hours so no be make a declaration before even the 72 hours na be so na we presidential we parliamentary ye be kan parliamentary we no we say parliamentary mu we coalition President Mahama na say dunketia despite the fact so no you lose with about 500,000 votes difference no almost so mun lose bibia or mu even a comfortable lead papa ni gina na so akopem say ebiwai obeje dey say sabre no 1046 our parliament o jana na so ane be che ne pe e ma ye free ye de 169 no ene ne be che 137 ye mfemfiri o ne yemra the year 2024 yes we dey the electoral commission had given the same 72 hours if you recall less than 15 hours and the year Dr. Baumia edrimika ekwajitu. What was the consequence? The consequence was that it emboldened the NDC. It sent only one message and a strong signal to the NDC. Zenko for mapaba. Akono muntimi nkubio. Me masembie enim. Omuntimi nkoyebio. And decide ya one monko coalition center so no monko GCC nibi.
The explanation na Dr. Muhammadu Baumia dia ba was asemi ya muken hu no. Enti asie nim say there be tension na e wo man neso.
It's not true.
I needed to do bibia wabra ya kanya wie nim se there be anko ya ma yen eti wo se me ye bibia be ma tension na bafem eti nka wo sa baso body empo na ekoma no se waboa ma so nua tena wo man mu eno ntoma sum
I expected this question because I've answered this several times. What he did in fact by silently and premature concession was rather the one that deepened the tensions because that is the evidence and facts available. You are 2 about 1592 BC tension amada the tension beba bra now in charge of Ghana now President Akufo in charge of the Ghana Armed Forces and now we in charge of Ghana Police Service in control of national security and attention. What he did was actually the one that deepened the tension. And let me tell you, that's what they reduce tension. It was just a safe saving mechanism, just to look good. Oh, Dr. Baumiade or J. Adia Tung to Dr. Baumiade or Yasum Jehine. Obviously, to give him a certain good image for the next election. What he did, was all about him. Winning. Modi Eddie Sebio, Modi Moya can kind of
about him saying.
It was about his interest. So no, for the next election, for his image. So said the Uzi can say or Yasum Jehine, he did it to save the let's check the temperature before his supposed concession and after the concession. Let's look at where the tension was. And the idea has nothing to do with what the reduced tension is an afterthought. Side explanation is an afterthought. The rather emboldened the NDC. And me no say after voting, I can be behaving. It took the cost to reverse 7 of the seats for us. 7 of them. How many of the seats na Yentiman court to go and contest a lose? Seats, seats are near 137 and near 87. There are 4 regions any a single member of parliament. 9 regions. If you look at the cumulative effect of the parliamentary seats, Makuma 98, MPP 5, and this 193, just because of this decision. So what are you talking about? So near Kwajatum, Namahama, I'm not in the best interest of the. What is even ABY? So now we are leader of the party, and the constitution enjoins you to even protect the friends say fundamental voting rights of the people. No man could make a decision. What is preventing you from moving ahead of the electoral commission? Now when you know my electoral commission any Jumeyi, do a crown could have even prejudiced the work of the EC, and indeed it prejudiced the work of the EC. And it will be do a year and a mass from Jibaya, ya to about fitting into Davenia Kwa. Davenia Kwa. He was all about how he would look good for the next election. And I'm telling you, say, in 2028, now me the Kenyan in so. And now, Obemo, in 2028, we need a leader. Onkwa jintum and terms of the way. As if be dear koni din fatana, a fatana kono, and young quanias. Now, okwa tank quanias and then my trim now we almost say, now to damia, we be dear Keduka quani. And the what the fat and name no say. So here, and this is for one more chief justice a free. What essentially means is say your coalition near Twaba, near Sisiwa, Obakono, Chief Justice Albenyano. Mr. Mekau, one here near the Chinia day, a siniso. Politically, it is possible. Chief Justice Albenyano, Obakono here, Chinia siniso. And what judgment are you going to get? Until you must not even wait till you go to the Supreme Court for the court to tell you say lessons are won at the polling station. You must not even wait. You need to win it. Secondly, and then Menoka said there are petitions against the electoral commissioner, Mebwa, and the two deputy electoral commissioners. From the politics that we do in this country, such as so even the referee now, they are getting referees, and so they may not necessarily come from a place of neutrality. Unless you say as a country, you need deputy yesis, you need the court, one your court to say elections are won at the polling station. A view, a crash on candidates from modern neighbor. Very likely somebody said in Ketia and a beba. Papa is no bravo now classic who are no your showy. And you are telling me, say, no, your bravo, more candidates no ye mute to second. And I cannot say that is even the more reason why we need a candidate who the trouble trevi, who the taria or no why, who the see obetra. And that is why I'm telling you, say 2028, we cannot present a candidate. One year the Mahama year in 2020, but on no kwaji a 2 term. Obviously just to look good, and because of him you free 137 seats about 87 seats. 7 of the seats will be also the decision now affected. How come say a court 7 of them court are Jamai? Those seats now are affected with coalition issues. How come say 7 court Jamai? And you because oh this is affecting any of the seats. It has never been true. It has never been true. We know everywhere. Do you know that interestingly close to 400,000 people ever talk about a blouse and skirt? Your free be skirt and blouse, okay. Skirt and blouse, so my presidential candidates now pay parliamentary and what 20 years. Already 2.1 million people even did not come to vote at the poll. And to the him said 2.1 okra metono. And no has been infanto. 2.1, I mean, people say it is because of the party. We may agree. But what also explains the close to 400,000 people for the first time in the history of our country since 92 motor blouse and skirt. One more to my parliamentary candidates who will not to tear presidential. So even the president. But can one say what to me bosso? We na sabreno your candidate to di anymore ye. But a biso dear ban said debut. Say mulusu ya. Na mo so mo candidate ka ho because and someone na nwumre wo ka say there be on the ohu asane etie no saa na wo ka no no so ka ho bi ena ma mulusu ye no anim ebi wa ma menka samonje ya che so mo ka adverse kura mo opponents ye timi de ne voice bi be hihye eno ahamo ndi ahamo bi ebi wa normal NPP lose power no in even without speaking to the OK report objectively we can all speculate. Yes, arrogance of power. Yes, promises are here, so yes, the economy and the rest. I mean, we can mention them. You can even help me. No, sorry, report no. Mo say shemboto mo fa mo bia. I make the report no ho but my memo be say on the economy. You have $5 say 4. And they call 17. Nipa or no edi any call context no. At the country president Akufo-Addo buy was because of this currency issues and the stabilization of the economy. And of course, a lot revolves around the dollar. I know a Canadian no the course. When Oka say I've arrested the dollar and given the keys to the IGP. No, a Canadian massive. And you can't blame this on Kennedy. So I arrested the dollar and giving the keys to the IGP. A bra will find for the call 17. NAPCO for an inch NAPCO was under who secretariat. Nay, Dr. Bamian secretariat. NAPCO for over 100,000 workers almost about 2 years in Chiamokano. Our Mokoto Abetiano, and we can Japan, and Numasem, and the Pusisa. What about Central Region? Central Region, I promises say, OBC airport are more, then Bibias and her president Kufado, so one can be Biasa, and we can Japan and Numasem. Now we had the DDEP, ya former Chief Justice, one Mudo Monsego Mutia, or Mokwa rounder, no Munine, Isu, Kemono, and we can Japan and Numasem. Nobody is saying, say, Sebio Kennedy. A saint. No, we've not said that. We all take collective responsibility for our loss. And no mabu high has our party for any ejitum. But ye castle can Japan no masam can Japan no masama. Let's cross check and run a forensic audit of the adverse of my boy between Dr. Bawumia comments on Muyuse and that of Kennedy and Japan comments on Muyuse. Kennedy Japan has been talking and criticizing the party before Kufuor's era. What I say, ye Kufuor by election every year. President Kufuor at the time Kennedy Japan party asem Kufuor by 2 successive elections in Lucia. I don't know what they can Japan no masama affected party no. But the name I can Japan no masam eba affected party no. So when people lay those claim can Japan no masam, I don't really get understanding. One person there or no coalition no ne ho bibia but obi no masam emom na NDC for e de ye. O se na sabre wo to fuel me and na bibia me buy me car na me to for 1,003 and then me turn 900. Reasonably, on that basis, you may not be able to question him. Until at that time, I near Koto about fool near their question. How then do you go and blame Kennedy Japan?
Me nimsa you bring komono e ye menum yenu. But say ye wo boa for sonko special aid or boa mo candidate no e wo ha. Question ba ko wo ho a me pese oboa me yi ano. Ene sa audio ya aba efa former MP for Dom Kwabenya. Say ewom so ne honorable Kennedy Akompre Kwan Japan ewo metu nemum between candidates ni nyina no hu no say nipa obetumi aboa eye Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia minim lawyer Kobi abusuan boa for sonkoma honorable Kennedy Akompre Kwan Japan ena obeyi sa asemia no ede amame minim say honorable atisa asem no a se wo bai kire se da bi so oba emmoa nipa mienu no de o matonsane so emfa ho se one ne wo mamienu wo ba emmoa ana we so abeka ne ewonyia no no ho
na sa no ka de
sa me money ne nati ana ma me money ne nati se wo pese o ti asem o kan ya nyabotre ma me e nyabotre ma me
mesi amra adu na adu ama wan Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia me come outro ena me ka sembi na to obi ati me ye politician ena honorable Kennedy Japan o ye politician kukudu minim sa delegates bebre wa ha wukunu e ye polling station executive ena wo yire enso ye polling station executive Mesrao, Obia Nkura na dwen wa politics mu. Obia Nkura na dwen. Enti honorable Ken Nkura na dwen. Okura ni ambition. Mesu mi kura ma dwen. Mesu mi ye manyosem. Na manyosem na obia eye no. Obia akọ bebia ne ho be dey. Mesi dey. Obia akọ bebia ne ho be dey. Dr. Boachi Kasa okan sembi. Maintain honorable Kennedy Japan. Menene womba pore ahofefo mienu ba mu abaako ena oba abaako enti maintain honorable Kennedy Japan menka se ono na ebefa na mom ye assume se wafa na wakotena Jubilee House na mimi CV eda ho ya ka CV asa wo kopa adwuma na monhwe adwuma amaye ene somo amasom Omayi ene mama ne na se dru ho na obetimi ahwemanimu aka se oba menene wo mamienu ma appoint no as minister for BB ejabeto Ghana yes kukudu mesidi ai and the Kennedy Japan mimi nim no amenena wo mienu no onye it's my political career is at stake. My future is at stake. And my future is with Dr. Alhaji Mahmudu
Anyway.
O microphone dey say emwo enka ba we hu mame ko we hu back mame because sound no me hwe enti bra o first microphone no ho mame me gidi say na obi say am say so ka asa enti ni ma hye da abo me mpese nya me na mbe ma wo na yehia be kire me mpe o kan ni say from the horses home and my boy mueti no ti se monte ya mate
Me that's it. Na me chow ne tis for you na
voice ya boy dey ye share campaign ase me hu obi a we dick in Japan ho dance here say that me hu obi a
e dey dance di
mama ase me o ka second dey dance di na no dey o mama ba ho se me hu obi a we dick in Japan ho dance say that
mu hu ne se we dey dance
what say e probi e wo among MPP fo ni mama di president dia na e ken Japan e se dey adwasa fo aka enda no no aka o so onim no Kennedy omba say oba be di president ama na be boa ni fiefo onye na adwene say oba be di president ama na be boa ni nanfofo why na adwene say obedi president abe boa man na ma man na koso this na make us so tie adwasa fo nkomo ya ono asem no kan o si ono no why politics ache wa bre na bra wa bre wo mu ne politics na wa ye no onim so de ono Kennedy wo ma na Kennedy de on be family and friends on be president ono kan o he she use in Japan minim no de so the more man no de on family man be minister na man be minister me political career be say inti Ghana man no ne kanko MPP in kanko any adjustafo nipa baako the political career then e befa e bi why o man say o man ye dru a ye hia be ma kokodrufo obi a oba be bia ndwuma ma ye nya bi obi a oba be solve man no problems amaye no na ye kwa kwadwu nipa baako career ho adjustafo career sebi o the last time kwa the position man we when Jawan got na baby to address for no career into no
positions ahoro a wa hold offices ahoro a wa hold
it is not about one person
from procurement ministry to leadership in parliament to the gender ministry it is about ko apa e wo ho no mo asa ne o kan say ye di post man no hwe ne atwam ni so bi
yes and okay there is just by the side when the person me they making see do the and say honorable Kennedy no as address for aka no a principled man it's in the principles and any drum but the odoma odo omano and then this da so hunu no ba behwe enye say adwasa for me no won me no ma mienu tie no sa akekate me ba point and she's been very clear into in kasa o kasa ndio person che say honorable Kennedy a principled man na principled man there the ne obi an ne nyom bi ne ye bi no e ma ni nya appointment on abam into okoba bi no bebo no I mean which is her right every individual bi ano ebia de wo personally be boa na opeso ye but enye wo parochial interests and I say MPP nyina ahwe to aba enye wo parochial interests and I say my money nyina ahwe to aba ensem no kan ne de we wutia no kre na say no no feel no
mo kra de mu hu ne say waboa mo wo mo campaign
me so obi en ho ya campaign we dikenje ho adanse esi da na wo dikene ho adanse o and wa kire say ono no personal interest into there e ma ne nyesa I said we who be also we dey ye pa but the kakra bia menya ninti no menye sa pepe na wa kire but I ken ho dance no wadi e kire say ken dey onfa na memu e ma be ye busuasem e na meni we wo ba e na say e na ken na me kan a very disciplined man say na busuani we na downfo we na ba we dey nya obeden obeka say adjust for the last time obedi minister ya na oni around there na person oba na there na enkoye ojani duty to way Ken was bold and he spoke about it into no asha papa no bia said no person ye ne nyoma no papa no intolerate and this is the kind of man na ye ne adwuma also by kwesi very humble because say post be no do so do no post oro if see ni papa ne ne adwuma no enya about say wenya post na be me ma ho so e adwuma na o de ahye onsa no ɛne sɛ de obesi execute no ɛne hia no nti Kennedy adwuma na yɛ nyina yɛ no it is about delivery enye ni nua ba ɛna we ba ɛna say about delivery ni na ni da so hu no yɛ ma ɔwɔ mo aman no so bebie ndwuma ma Ghana fo ma enya biaye
ma menna waselo Yakobi abusua boafo so nkoma honorable Kennedy akompreko Japan na watene nkanati fo so edibia ba ne ensem bisa no bebre Facebook YouTube sene medical dia tudwa no wo de wadwenkyere no to ho a enche mekenkai ede amount na Felix Kofi ani osi akua the dom kwabenya constituency nipa wo honom no omo rejected Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia massively eti di asem na adwasafo eka woye campaign wo constituency wo die ne course wo constituency honom ena Sila Sodum osi bi wa mechia mo anwumre se MPP pese omo win power then omo fa Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia mra eno ena ebeboa won ena Robert Junior osi bi wa ono kra de ode so yan ka ho yo osi honorable adwasafo no kwasem ne se nasem no mempese mechanic bebre nemum eyono a ne pese minkuminya ni yiedie ho ene wo dwene enye party no master planner Junior Kentampo osi akwie unim ma kwasi kwaten engete ne facts right lawyer enye no kreda se Ghana photo aba blouse and skirt se ne wo kano ne edika no ne etosum yenu Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia se ope big example a opesa medema no a kache ne se Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia ono a won konhia yeso constituency no hwe rekose wo honom se sticker odi o machiri no sticker nya amasen e won hia yeso constituency na Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia enya amasen e wo constituency honom asin of Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia enya emma bebre ya chen reverend team fodwo etisa facts no a or present no kache ne se on cross checking the facts non presenting ye Gusty man or say akwie lawyer Kwesi Kwaten won kan bibia indicate say was here Toma honorable Kennedy Japan on kan bibia e betumi agina so ato aba amano wo expect say nanko expect say Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia be cause chaos wa bra wadi ntwo wa abatu mu ana asese enko nkana nuntum na basbasa yonko so anade na opeso oche na obi okode yode aba o se bi why just like sene ye ka say the men of Isaka omote ebrase Israel se wo de kwotwo kunkunu mu a omunim bribia ne emu ade yo sa na MPP amanyoko no ewo so omote ase se ebra ye wo mu MPP amanyoko ni hia nipa a woye kukudurufo nipa a wote niema ase nipa na dwenmu do nipa o wa kukuduro eno ene ade a MPP ehia chese direction obema good direction ama eniema etumi akoso eti so omote niema kan yase de a then 2028 e wo say ye honorable Kennedy akompreko Japan abu feidi ye ode aba o se akua dear pa na ye wrong won ye Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia ye no ya nya hu se ade na ankoyie eti na nko ayiri mu twan na mente ase na me accept defeat na asesen da bi nye sa na ye ade eti ne opanine kamene no enya ade bisi ba ashes esikado ketan o se akua you matesi ye or see the two gentlemen there has said everything ye opese worker ni obeka nyina na maka na Adom Yesu o see bi why adwoa adwoa ko ka kire ezi aso for say mo nto aba na eto aba na memene da adwoa ene mante o say adwoa be adwoa safo ekoka se ezi for mo nto aba na eto aba na memene da Ghana de mu wo fila o sa fila we de menya na Adom Yesu asem we mi yine mente da sa adwoa koye campaign we ezi aso dem ko ka chom se mo nto na eto na memene mi akora mi hu ye na ya mafo o se akua kache Kennedy akompreko Japan ni team no say omuruti for a bad candidate emfo omunkoduru ba bia omada omunyane if you say see a candidate obeboa party no a enye omo candidate no and Ray or say kwia mimi suro emu kakra wo mihu say Ken say why sober kakra enso se ekotoma no anhwe ya no asa akwati asin dada mu enna kwasi kwati akere wo no say won sesa ye nemum entiase aba wo hu say Ghana fo no wo so miti omo halfway eti so okosin dada mu de Mesha Kasante was here kwia MPP fo betumi asum moja Pandai City no marwe kora wo de ni omo pe bi omo nye political Mickey was here kwia baby anem memfa ho no mo ene abusua wadwenche no de fa bibra Facebook YouTube message bre na masan abamu ebio lawyer me pese ehwe message amode enam
kakra ya me me bit to respond to some of them say
messages no edoso so ka so be
just a brief one
okay na yenko ye ni
just a brief one open ni say yanto blouse skirt
ene ajiwe ka
ho it is on record say okay
diwe ka ho na kwa me o se akua kache kwasi ma me say there's no way your MPP delegates be kwa ama a traitor and see that.
I think say Dr. Bamian go for mo share show ne pa because messages papa e do ma say
who say o mo
o say duma ya na ade say bu ha e say go for be hwe na won twetwe bu ase no we are to be I'm like o ma ya de but agree o say nkofo a o man to blouse and skirt wonim say nipa ameto
by o ama some data bi.
No, I have the data. Say 2.1 million ameto. I know they are established. 2.1 million. No. Say President Akufo-Addo 6.7. No, the Jaya na Dr. Bami had about 4.6. We have reduction rate now. What say President Akufo-Addo to votes by 33%. What they call even the northern part or no free or so by 16%. There are 7 regions when Timen win a single constituency. Out of 16 regions, they move 15 were declining in votes, so compared to 2020.
Those are on my 2 constituencies in Shire, so and a reverend in Team for your constituency.
Maybe address it. I don't have the figures, but I'm going to address it in Team for your constituency. I know, can't say, you can't say nipa yanto blouse and skirt. When him say, for the first time in the history of our country, 345,465 etoma parliamentary movie no to TI presidential. Some go for no movie was able to be almost 400,000 people etoma parliamentary movie no to TI presidential. He in na first go betoma presidential no ko 20 parliamentary. But this time around 345,000.
But what can be because what can be say enhwehwe mu ekoso efa nientia mulusi ye no. When we say my establish we mu say because of the candidate in Tinasa rising.
We incommodate. It's not a cross examination, so I can ask you a question. Rhetorical one, maybe if you don't want to answer. You had 2.1 million mama post na metro. Ubitima as a party for both for mama metro. But we had 345,465,000 of them, which is almost 400,000. Unim omo babe to you. Omo wie no mo to ma parliamentary, omo you no mo to tia presidential no. Omo so be explain say. So no mo so bofu. They are just saying they don't like the candidate. Almost 400,000.
Now, more performance so
no, I'm not. Do you, no, maybe you're not getting my point. The point I'm making is say 2.1 million people didn't come and vote. Ubetibaka say will be a party structures and a party in the party for Ameto. But more beto yeno 345,000 of them buy MPPO. Omo toma parliamentaries, you know. Omo wie no mo tutia presidential no. And the parliamentary vote cost so more than 345,000 than the presidential. Which essentially means omo buy nyasa mama omo back to my pieces no omo you no mo to tia presidential no. What explains this if it is not a dislike for the candidate? And they didn't like the candidate. When him say candidate no obi ono su mama more example. Also say or yeah primary is not so free or say Dombo tradition imported Dombo legacy no ye Dombo land even though they didn't agree we go free upper east. Edna ukoye Dombo if you drop our powers, but I mean I don't get the connection. You don't even speak the language. But also you Dombo. They unko Dombo krum to amotoaba. When you parliamentary, Dombo krum onya 14.17%. 14. Well no radius drapa. 14 and na joma menya 85%, 85.83. 14.85. 14.85. Dombo na pay the year campaign say do Dombo so no Dombo for to 14%. No more. They just don't like the candidate. How do you explain? They say Dombo for free or so free or Dombo lineage and also protect 14%.
Kwesi. O te say ya bo adwane no obi ka say nyamempa ngu o te anu.
Adwa de 9% kaka.
Dabi o te anu.
O se nyamempa de ngu.
Say o kan say Ken ba ena obi tie mu ka say nyamempa ngu. O de me ntwusu say enkosei. Ba ne wu ken. Se koba ne say Musa ko the old candidate ya ba. That means say from momo angle no more lose in advance.
The data points to the fact to say yeah, the old candidate in the bar, the party's chances of 2028 were from. That is what the data says.
Okay.
2.2, yeah, the company amount. Let me go to the data in a minute. Yeah, the company amount. The company amount. Yeah, the company amount. Baby, I will free. If you home advantage, me say me fra go. Tibia me yade go for be so ready me say me compare president. Baby, I will free the compared to Akufo-Addo votes. Esote by 16%. The northern part of the country. Nationwide, esote by 33%. 345,000 of our people came and voted for your pieces and voted against you. 7 constituencies. 7 regions when we need a single constituency. Oh, out of 276 constituencies, they move 199 will see. Parliamentary so no would every 137 at the about 87. How would Jirapa will say Dombo now will say Dombo lineage. Unya 14%. How the data doesn't support him so by be. And I also make catch us 2028 near Denia could do. I say don't get here we are or Namanu Chetri.
Or Munyan to a Benya say don't get
now the emphasis Julius Crow America. And Julius do a show say that about Julius and so in 2028. Julius Umpo. Mamma Casamon Joe, Mamma for Nisi.
Yeah, never hosi because so di a message say beni na ye say one hwe ya won free ho because obi so di obi sa ne say and your wow candidate constituency both parliamentary and presidential
let me answer you. Well, because of this question I'll abandon the point I was coming to make. Maybe I'll tie it. I mean Kanjo, there are moments where a candidate's popularity alone and hold and sustains the party at a certain place in a certain moment. Canada Japan proud to time obey your MP no. Nasen baby no one. Asena is sabe asen central asen of Nebum. 92 year coalition year winning. Somebody comes Ohudu constituency for how many years? 24 good years. And that will free so na constituency in Kotoma in this. What does it mean? They are essentially saying send your party no motomano. They were voting for the individual candidate Japan.
There's a when Timia a seat no for the party. You can when Timia sustain the seat for the party.
People have also said that it is because of the Tabame's candidature. People didn't even come and vote for the pieces. People have also argued that. Or coalition. People have argued, say 2.1 million Kenya Tabame's candidature on Komomba Toya, they would have come and voted for our pieces. But the point is that 345,000 even voted for the pieces and voted against you. So the pieces were even stronger than you. But back to the question. Can the Japan popularity and sustain your sensitivity? Look at Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo's popularity, what if we say they call 6.7? From 5.7 to 6.7. Sorry, 4.5 to 6.7. What did jump from 2016 to 2020 elections? 2016, Unya say, and 2020 is Unya say. What they call 6.7 brand over. His popularity alone was able to carry the party. And sometimes you also get a candidate that may also be unpopular. And also unpopularity alone, a bit in the party neither out of form. And if we are to sustain the logic, secondly, the point in the city there, assuming even with that admitting, then is the Dr. Baumia's popularity and unpopularity near the other. For Japan coalition was saying, one person is able to sustain a seat for 24 years. The guy leaves, and the next day we lose the seat. And people are saying, instead of saying, say, Papa the popularity and then sustaining a seat, yes, oh, when Timani sitting. What kind of logic is that? Or election, and then yet one will be a cabin when Timani sitting, and then when Timani. I was going to make a point. Say, one more Mosu or Mobiti me, I just sit, 2028. Say a Sidu, say a Haruna, say Julius, when in an more than neighbor, and then NDC dollar, I say, let's even put it around 12. Assuming without admitting, say, your core election, neither even 15 par. How do we convince them, say, Dr. Bawumia, their 17 was better than us? And the 2028, on grounds of economy is not going to help us. On grounds of presenting a strong candidate, the data doesn't support. Said Dr. Baumia.
Okay. Yanko message mode and because mo message matino akoye adwuma ye ba mabunu adwuma ye ba mabunu adwuma minima adwuma koro se eye aba adwuma se ye adwuma be because o mayimu ye te ye ba mabunu adwuma ye ba mabunu adwuma fa be wiase no ye ba ye se o youth employment na ya pe baabi ne de mabunu na hye kakra ebe wiase abosumi nsia ne ntua woka bosumi du ne ntua woka na o mabunu na sa begu fie ewumu a na o mafrɛ yen monka ye sika maaye aban ni free hono mo a na o masa begum eti mo kasa ye be create employment a kwan be so data ban ne kita mo fa say ye kan nipa e wa adwuma wo mayimu woni eni adwuma wo mayimu
open data. Na me searching for data za what time there.
Yeah, wo bre ne yan so obebo ntofa amaye.
My money tofa. World Bank. One more statistics when it comes to unemployment. One more say by the year 2030 and beyond. Any paper who heard Juma, developing economies, the growing economies, 1.2 billion.
Yeah, Ghana kahon.
So 1.2 billion. And more 800,000 of those jobs will not be existent. Ejuma neni hompo. And see, around 400,000 they will not be human, but about 800,000 of those jobs will not be existent in growing and developing economies. Or they be a say near the global perspective. Over Ghana Sazika Service Beka say unemployment rate around 14%. But we say one more moye jumana. What is the value of life for live? Unemployment rate of 14%, but the same Ghana Statistical Service and Beka say 80% of Ghanaians one more salary under 3,000 Ghana cedis. And Ghana had I say, and a single room say, indeed, so what mammy numians now won't hire 3,000 a crack and some bosome. And the corruption yeah then is almost a means of survival. And ne obe had dying, obe trial be, obe to what now say, dear, said you be or monsa, and won't you tight was sorry, on to singlet and say, on to day. This is the life that 80% of us are living. The same Ghana Statistical Service by Catch say 20% of Ghana are living in abject poverty. The Grumano, literally there is no sikeni. Literally there is no sikeni. And this is the data that is available. And we are moving into a phase that is not really about even government creating jobs, but you also have to build job creators, entrepreneurs. And that is what is noted for. How do you build entrepreneurs? Mostly, you have to have this PPP, public-private partnership, introducing more investors. Ken, also the FAPE model basis on mine, the 3 pillars before you even get into the mainstream the policy and kasabeba. Our area strong that agriculture, kuyayo, and socio-economic transformation all over the world. On Maya or no Tima Dani or Mino and Puntu Amenyuma Bemu who have taken advantage of the first, second, third, fourth industrial evolution. Wonomudia Juma year to increase productivity agriculture agriculture. He's the only person who say the whole north arable lands at the whole no or the beefy not only Ghana, also the beefy Africa. Now one does say or say share investors are now no or the one way is over. Or share the distance between the north and the south and the and your own the plane cry cargo planes every day bia the vegetables fruits from the north a year a sima and pukra a yesika as I numa. That is one. He's also spoken about tourism. When him say what to and I know so or will be see a yes a puma and money be social media no more go to Singapore, go to Dubai. Economies, and particularly Singapore, it is sustainable. It is not tourism. So there is also a link between tourism and socio-economic transformation. And what is what I say decentralization of the ministries. When it is what yes, but what I mean is Ashanti region. Okay, Ashanti region. Ashanti region, there Kumasi very active here Friday and you say ye, you know, dear me better translate trade tracker, Saturday, Sunday, at Sunday 6 p.m. No Kumasi is almost a dead city. Why? Because I will be a freeba. So why can't we create an artificial of stimulating growth? How do we do it? Let's take governance back to down to them, to the people. Me, I've always maintained, say, the decentralization, I can't say decentralization, there's not really a local government, local governance, maybe what we have at best can be explained as local administration. But when we're talking about proper local governance, you give power to the people to run their affairs. How do you also do it? What the state agencies, ministries, will go, what they call to them. For Ministry of Education, or Central Region, or Ministry of Agriculture, or Northern Region, or Ministry of Trade, or Ashanti Region, or Ministry of Tourism, or Volta Region. It's going to force people to move from one region to the other. Everything will not be Accra. You better decongest Accra. Of course, some of the key ministries will also still be in Accra. At the end of the day, what do you achieve? Nipano ministry, you call Nipa behind now. Nipa mabeko schools or you better do go ministry in the agency now you maybe no intimate or behind or better. That is how you build, you stimulate say compelling growth by within a short space. So what's how can so obey used to be a friend Asian miracle model? How do you did? Open your be station any or other media houses what I say open question. If he's able to employ, say, 500 or 1,000 workers, why don't you help him increase his capacity, enhance his ability to expand his business? Now this time around, don't crew to 10,000. Again, also build another 1,000 question. Oh, question back on 1,000. Now the another 1,000, not also 1,000. I say you've created 100,000 jobs. Now, if you have expanded the capacity of somebody like Zoom Lion, now it's first with me for 10,000 workers, no to me for 100,000 workers. Now, to me, create Zoom Lion for that alone, you've created 1 million jobs. And the problems confronting us an APY, the solutions in your miracle, in your magic, and you will be a friend of common sense approach. You solve problems, and through the problem solving, you create jobs. And that is what Kennedy Japan is coming to do. And also a track record. Nadia, he has been a successful businessman within the private sector. Na private sector, they say, and they are buying at the end. Ubia in ye maimu with the difficulty in running a business. If we're able to succeed within the private sector, the same principles that Najwa Safoka was say, can the unpen nepotism? Can the unpen nepotism? Can unpen family and friends? Can the now be can Najwa Safomuna edin hwa dance? If we're able to translate it into the public sector force, coupled with the state mandate, their manner, what they may catch you. Within and then all over there will be a move from the traditional politician near bot tie, near fan kwala, near traffic channel gallery, or a humble. No, a lot of them are weakness disguised in humility. We need a strong person. The Trump style. Boris Igwe is one you're correct. Look at how he transformed UK. Margaret Thatcher no, and then we are still revolve those kind of leader. Those kind of leaders, the next Sunday we are say Edru. Put in more can be no catch as a no amount for my thing. We need to do things right. These are the kind of leadership that we need. And baby we are say Edru no. And it can able to cause a massive transformation.
Abusia owura kwasi kwaten lawyer en waten enka na obin bless or CABY mitiemu free se benchema na Mr MPP delegates no say omo vote emma nipa obema mabunu adwuma ayo because the unemployment rate no e was soro papa chia Dr. Alexander Paben emame na honorable Kennedy Japan so ekua tonenkra emame ena political make ma body no so ono say Kennedy Japan kwa na betumi aboa school boy o se akua na ando ase mi firi he o se Mr. wa bisa na ma me se no krese Brian Emma Ken ska won campaign mu sika tua bi akoso.
No, I've spoken to Brian. Brian himself said it's not an issue he's going to talk about. My explaining so obiama obiaska obiamba bribe contest amati say amaka bribe so far ansana we lose we last election bibia say no
bribe we dey na o kan say
something ho asem
ya man iska na
ska on fanya dey
o sis ya man iska won the campaign for the campaign na sika no wan fa anye campaign was squash ska
bibia say no bibia say no
ofa ke dey your dey about say bi wa mitiemu free new plan station na Freddy Kopon Poda or say akua no kwasem ni say Canada Japan ware ni awie ende bibia ni ho no mo a ebetumi asi kwan jiwa asmo banda minim sa asma na ba we dey asmo o say ye delegates na kwia ye decided that me nka me constituency ye decided that baby e to abana kono Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia tini obi abeka bia ye ntie Helena Pamford o say bi why menyi ni se nipa mienu ye Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia na se Canada Japan omu bia betumi awele betumi awene the elections wo 2028 abato no emu me se nipa mienu ni nyina menyi ni se betumi age tumi ama MPP ama nyuko no nti wana agidi so betumi age fabrain Michael ya kafui asise o se akua wonim Ghana for your problem ne say yempe leader or your principal yempe leader or your truthful system no corruption kwa kwanya amanfo betumi afa so ne kro no bo wo yifa ha no obi nka eti si ehu se obi eyensi yo se me ma kwa ma wunua me nti ase pe ubehu se obi ya no obi ya edwane na bisuba ne wasade aba o se akua wonim se MPs ni bebre eblemu Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia for losing the elections ebi omonye omadwen se omobekanti abasa wo ba manyokuo no mu a bebre ka se Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia ka hu bi na omulusu omu seat no eti ne candidate ade dead on arrival akua nka twa so ma menko wasemo a wo kan kwasi nti delegates no age atom because un say ebi di omo hyase wo delegates no so wutie ebi message omo si o ye ba nipa wo constituency ye delegates no ye be make sure say anye bia no nipa du adwuma yo ye de be mamo nti ya say message e wo for mo message amode ma delegates no
na to shi busa no say Dr. Bawumia promise was over many nipa du appointments no onya akwanya as for one vice president o ma say di kwatwe kwaso bo
mo no onye president
wa mwana busuani bia
sana onye president
mese wa mwana busuani bia ese ozo kriti 800,000 jobs ze busu afose na ibi na momo jobs no no onye president wa mwana busuani afo bia na setena mse ya na nete you see you don't need to
ba kwasi you are a lawyer unim ne constitution ne ka ebra vice betumi ate vice nkita to me so be take decision say or ma appointment
these are complete different things. You see, the fact that you are not a vice no doesn't mean say you can't be resourceful. Any resourceful
no
vice
but provide appointment on ma appointment
mesi ni busu ani bia anya appointment that any resourceful vice president will advocate for this. So what one affairs also matter you should demonstrate to us a time now what me ma one mesi kwatre kwaso ba ma onto ma tie ni din sad na enye bibia say any so ba nipa 10 appointments then na to shibusa na so buy no appointments no de mai na nyuma nse mpose na otimi de mai no akoma appointment because nyuma is subservient to appointment. This appointment there was rule nyuma mpokra say no de mai no akoma appointment. The most important thing is so what you say Ghana ye o man for nya dwuma ya nobody will crave for appointment o bo any pattern e o constituency mu na omo maka no all the other delegates omo nya dwuma nya emphasize ben also because it will almost be the same recycle. Lazumi even without admitting said do me kwabenya omo delegates say one more a delegates about almost 1800 now as well appointee any pattern ni pattern one more so e Ghana unless of course the logic is that any pattern mo ko wi bibi e dey abra afoforo that's which is not so. Enti beyond ni pattern no policy be na say na ade boa delegates ni na beyond almost so no say be na ade boa man ni na we have been consistent with our message that if you access three things that can be is jobs obi abenya biaye na obe kase oba na oba appointing ni pattern o appoint o mo no mo maka no so ayede
abusia mi bie nhuma no atumi free sabi ko betimi afre na wo de wadwenkyere abana Harmony Poland o say akua Kennedy ohene Japan ana say MPP beka opposition so man fa no ama 2028 enye opposition so won beche 0302216561 and 0302216562 0302216561 and 0302216562 betimi afrena wo so wadwenkyere wo de aba Duma Pareto Duma o say bi why Ghana for enye ready for another president Ghana for nye krado so mo beji mampani foforo ya wo free amantifido ne edika no no ne etoso mienu Ghana for nyina hu Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia ahu se ne policy sene na nisu ade hunu no enya de se ebeboa ena sa link se domo family na miyedomo no on I'm fancy ma me fa frefo odikan. Hello.
Fantastic good evening, come on, ABY.
Good evening, minu abe ma dini baby afrefre.
Actually, Master Planner Junior ni Kentampo.
Yo, mi enti o minu a.
A member Abaso. I'm in chair panel members. Kwasi Kwati lawyer. Baba Juma Maken. By fa. Inshallah. When say MPP delegate 31st January 2026. On beto abano ama Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. Number 3 on the ballot paper. ABY. On the issue of early declaration, I'm say me bra Kwasi Kwati lawyer ni ya won update no. Now no lawyer JFK our general secretary the MPP. Was it sir early concession na Dr. Bawumia be no. Enye Dr. Bawumia nko na sorry ka so one presidential candidate into ko declare. Was so one JFK ankasa no not meet mu ena mu ni na party mpemfo be ka bom say no ade no internal coalition che say enye den Dr. Bawumia nko abontin ko declare ni say we Bawum Mahama den awe ni anko musa na aju nko na Dr. Bawumia nko ena mu ka say no mo ntwe na ade nche nti enye Dr. Bawumia nko aside no ABY if I no kunya sa 345,000 parliamentary man for to my parliamentary or man to my president if I no kunya sa figures obeti matuna say no our conjunction figures no ka bibi say honorable Kennedy Japan ofi asensen na MPP elusu ya na say Kennedy Japan woni nti na moto parliamentary no more na de nti na o gen say Dr. Bawumia dey say onpo no say o ma to bebre ama parliamentary na and they are more parliamentary candidate in that
Master Planner.
So how do you hold Dr. Bawumia on that?
Master Planner. Mami for unsi. O say party ne decide yes Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia meye declaration no obejitum wo hu. Hello. Hello.
Ekuya.
Eja udini baby afrefe.
Collins ni the way PM amamole e wo Ganof municipal.
Mini abe mami enti o.
Ya popo nshira papa. She maybe ebia wo se me ba wo fidie so a the two MPP for F the national chairman e kan emribi. He has strong opposition. Woman may share the latest opposition. What by Bermuda and the year 2000, the MPP, now we are on. And let the dear Nasa Sequia share a manual seminar and yet say that it be best to last forever. No. When I found a door to see this in MPP. MPP 4 years, yet this in Mapa. And so me a year, baku say. And now we say, show you say race way, young fellow say, a granny pam you pay out of 5 no. And the Japan, any Dr. Bawumia, only me anyway, near Sano, the only a teleco my dream. Only me anyway, and a dress and I will share campaign on Moya, message be any honoma at Tony Passum, because we could no to a young Pia, we could no to a young Pia. Can you bet in a Unia or delegate now, that's all to Abamano, and I'm ready, and I come in the name Jintum. Hey, we lose general election, no Jintum, you racket. Can afford to decide you, so we decided also Jitum, Yobua. So your cockroach delegate for an outfit and Newton Albania. A cat them say, no more opposition in your honor. Send your beya. A buy what is soon, or ye be an HIA, no more let's MPP, dear, what's a concord? Cry. Say, dear Montrahoy, dear Bob Pacquasse, and you jack.
You, that's it. Hello. That's what they, yeah, what they aba ehu. Ma, memfa frefo odi ho. Hello. Eja ma wafidi nko from natural so mame.
Hello.
Udini baby afefe.
Then Joseph, then I'm a perfect Katanga.
Yo, Joe Mientio.
That doesn't make any sense. Never know to walk or cook auntie. That is something to tell. Say, Kasa or the Kanaka Kasa, that top delegates for you. Let that attack. What I attack and what or a band moon. No, we are going to walk for oh, yeah, then, or black on stage sign, or brown press water sign. Now, although the Bomian plan, one part and I tell the young Bomian. Bomian in the Totoma, NTP. The catches on you with a yellow nest, they say, Yenny Omuka. If some of Musa say a lesson, yet you lose a lesson, Penomata say, per se, over Madam come the Piatti. Yenny, about 22,008 never get any party. Natabukasa, we are at the same year, Yaya February, and answer. Good what you buy the Berada, the Katina, Masaman, the Dassi.
You, yes, that's it, Eja. Yes, that's what drinks what they are about Ubia Edene dear by drinks and let's say a renny. And to be a nenny dear, Ubia nenny or they ever to me that's what they are with their bahu. Hello.
Hello.
Eja Udini baby are free.
I don't want
a gentleman me and you.
You and you know my boy to my papa and Yamishra. But you mean, incoming like chairman, you can come with you and our president. Over a year, the champion. Give me can you answer? Obi a kind of massive. Obi a can't maybe you better to about Yamano. Obi and one more bar. Obaba car, somebody Yama, candidate back with us, win the baby. A job bar, nearly found my son Rebecca. And the media, and you might be for the sound, I am one. Say, Babanisa, what do you say? You be a project in the bar, so, or be project in the but you'll be project in the and you do what you are talking about, you be, you know. I'm the young, I can't be. They are quite young. I'm a jacket load. Bye bye.
You. O campaign adwuma su wo nipa be na yo semnum utwa ha no abesi ha ejani mu ejani mu na yete ne nka ne contract no tim se emu edu obo ha no abo ha hello Mr. Mo ofra na wama wafidie na wo wachi no akofo mama yenyesa yente ne o ka bi. Hello aja udin ba bia frefre.
James ni kasefi ni.
Yo aja usu. Oso kasefi not free. Okay, me
not ready.
Yo me enti aja usu.
Na iwa na pass. Ipacho everything omo kasa de say Honorable County, what's such an argument? What's the policy in the brain? I can't almost some of the almost say that I need defeat 18 hours. No crack, Shabukuma had 20 before. Share Aquatia had 20 before. Pandai as over Boba. Only your Pandai, Alaba, and so on the Burgeri. Also, upon back and Taqua South. Only Santa Casa, don't be some central. The Montreal normal no why I didn't any in there cancer any what you can't live in Grove. Oh, dear, Monia here, NDC for Monia bread and on Monia bread, you know, you could do for and Timino man tearing now. NDP, a beluzu, a better position, a better to say CPP, I am a being, the Darcy.
Yes, so yeah, that's it. My main phone si ona me mfa free phone so ensio. Kwasi? Ya kuro.
Mame.
Ya ne akọ.
Mame react.
Say dem mo say former MP dom kwabenya no e campaign ma
ho. On dey say omega say ko say be se panic na ha ba. Ti penis for say tase ne banyansa fum. Ono so jansa de no wo ye no. Obi one ne wo ma de we de one ne wo ma hunti.
Enti ne de ne jansa de.
Jansa campaign no ye no.
So try no try.
Oh, you both to score. Say ya no because say ken dem kai no say na chire wa we nim say na me bo abaso. But just a quick one idea no could be idea no. So almost say could you have clarify general secretary.
Yeah.
I mean, you see what they busa ho say ampase was a collective decision. Why did it take 1 year? None of 9 fiani di an anniversary. And some all bow to Becca because you say saying let's work as Becca say who say you defeat in quite spiritual and I didn't by Need to be taking 1 year. I feel no be change a collective decision.
And so I heard or hear more candle to watch him.
Yet, what I want to say is that the jury out there, the public out there, one also an answer for. They are able to diagnose and decipher between what they think is true and what they don't think is true. I leave it to their conscience. So more and but assuming without admitting, said there was even the said collective decision Hey, any decision, you know, I'm more party, no. And there's a good job person also then a whole Friday idea. So one day leadership. Jamomwa. Jamomwa.
That's you. Abushia yeda senior facet any be Emma Franco Trading Enterprise me say hey afidie I say Ghana 1 year turn near man no mati sales na say papa and two for have wom si sales so for high sales as we be wo no mo akwa ne wom si sales kura tim say hey sales imponie ye bu ko na mum say ye Franco Trading Enterprise e na wo ko wo no mo a omo no mo ti sales na say omo no mo ti Black Friday ase wate so anu wate subum eti se wo hia air conditioner se wo hia TV se wo hia mobile phone se wo hia tabletop fridges ni o hia bia gadgets ko hono mo ye de mawo a ebo no eda fam se wo pese o ti yeye nya biribia nam se asase de wo befa eti ye di agro ye diska ye ABC game ye hia so be dial *262# now we pick 3 letters from 5 cities going which are 1 million Ghana cedis and a woodie abusia we ye si diagro na jisika diagro no waninye na jisika nyame ya adomo a on the first ye strictly high life Adom FM ye de brew wonim say ya na fi ye call La Palm Royal Beach e hono mo na efita na chese ye ginam DJ Billy Ocean na DJ Andy Dusty e ginamu a ye be di ani e wo the Palms Convention Center La Palm Royal Beach enwe no nwotwe ne de ahyehye so atade na efita ye be bow high life kosi se wo bebre na akope ba bi ada na ye kan so enye nunku wonim se ye de Adom FM 9 lessons and carols eba this year eba den Adom TV ye de brew eti nyame ya Adom a ye meme de eba iwo hu ne na awotwe 20th na se meme de eba ya ene ye de hyehye so wonsa enka wutikita bo modern ma wonsa nka because ye kono ye anigye eye boko ensu yenwie no ne asua bibia firimu bebre yesu awoda we ye agi yani na bronya no every 20th ko de na say ya tiesi bronya no amu 89 lessons and carols year de bro carols 90 no Adom TV bedi animu na ye de abro kama edu ho no mo a ene yenko na yenkoje yani ena Roverman Productions and cry here 2025 festival no ehyeso ye de brew anyway enye play place just say siniye no ya hyehye ni bebre ene ye de ba ye catch us say Uncle Bo White ono wa hyehye play e de ba otro omuso ayie no wo mfa nipa bi a wo monti siniye ase wo fa nipa a wogina ho no mo atim say eniema ekoyie 24 December terms of divorce senior obeyie no gina simpie so ayi ni die da so asenti da so no terms of divorce 24th December 25th December Dubai or no sex 27th the X Factor and also beba 28th December Love on the Ropes and also the best so 1st January Voices in My Head and near the best so 2nd January Order for 4 and 3rd January the X Factor ye besa dia beshim ho on the 4th of January Love on the Ropes na say ye be repeat bia won say titles amedema winina e bia ni ho no mo enye de rate no 300 Ghana cedis per show and I say 1200 for a pack of the 6 shows no so person obani nyina from 24th to 4th na no 6 shows ni nyina 1200 Uncle Bo White the otua 2000 kora wo moka show ankasa e na wo begie abusua ye de mo asi ma me na mo ase na me mammo anitie medin e de akua boachewa yi Adom JP ofra me ebi wa ya mejo so na me so de ene ye dwoada eti sofo pani pegata maklo ebesi adwa e de nyame asem na ebrewo me producers lawyer listo wo kwadwofodwo